All right. So, trigger warning, okay. Very, very serious stuff that's going to be discussed on this live stream. One of the subscribers sent me this video. Sorry, let me drink me some water. One of the subscribers sent me this podcast. It's actually from one of my favorite creators. I don't know if anyone follows Tori Brianne, but she just started a podcast called The Decision Podcast, and she featured another content creator. She goes by the Sacral Healer here on YouTube. And she actually works in the sex work industry. She actually, during this time, she was a stripper. I don't know if she is still now to this day, but she shares her story on the podcast. Hopefully, I can be able to stream the whole thing. It's for fair use. I'm adding commentary. So hopefully, they do not try to kick me off because I'm going to be using her podcast. But she does have a channel where she talks about her story and how she acquired her illness and kind of her background and her trauma. And so I feel like it's a really, really good lesson because everyone knows here that this is a sex worker, sex positive space. I actually danced myself. And so I really do think that this is important for women to understand. And I really do feel as though like I do understand that Princella the Queenmaker says that Shira Seven's message is very dangerous. It can be very dangerous. And so the reason why I wanted to shed light on this is because this is an example of how when messages are getting towards the like as a collective and there is not enough critical thinking, there is not enough I guess self-awareness and a lot of naivete that happen behind these decisions that are being made. And then unfortunately, unfortunately, there are certain things that end up happening as an outcome of not being able to not make good decisions when you don't have the clarity and the knowledge that is needed before going into these things. So let me go ahead and share screen with you guys, and we will get to it.
She thought she hit the jackpot when she met a charming and wealthy man in one of Atlanta's hottest nightclubs. But one night of luxury turned into a lifetime of consequence. Join us as we dive into Dominica's story, whose life was forever changed by a man with a secret. Welcome to the Decision Podcast.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm so excited to have you. I know we have quite a story to talk about.
Yeah.
But first, I want to hear a little bit about your childhood. So where are you from?
Yeah. So I'm 29. My name is Dominica. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
Ooh, okay.
Born and raised, well, mostly in the Marietta area. So
Okay.
Metro Atlanta, I guess you could say.
Okay. And you have been here. Have you ever moved away from Atlanta, or have you always been here?
Never. Always been here.
Do you want to move?
Yes. Expeditiously.
So what was your childhood like, really?
My childhood was normal, I guess you could say, growing up. The only thing that I would say is me and my father's relationship was kind of strained. He worked out of the country a lot of the time. So it was me, my mom, and my 3 sisters. And she was a rock for us. I mean, she just did everything that my dad would have did if he was here. He was still a great father. I cannot deny that.
Yeah.
But as far as our relationship being strained and emotionally, he couldn't be there for me a lot of the time emotionally. So that kind of took a toll on me and looking for validation with men.
So speaking of which, when you were a
So I feel like it's very important that she mentioned that. She said that she lives in Atlanta. So yeah, that already really does set the precedence on that influencing how things happen the way that they happen. But I really do I like the fact that she acknowledged that her father was not really in the picture like that. And then also him not really being there kind of further facilitated her to need validation from men. And this is the reason why I am always telling women that you cannot come from a place of lack where you feel as though you need validation from a man. On my Patreon, that's the reason why I ended up making the Male Validation Trap ebook as a part of you all joining as Patreon members, because the whole purpose of me making that was to teach women the types of ways in little boxes that women will try to put themselves into in order to get male validation. And there are a lot of men out here most men are here to exploit that. They are here to exploit your need to be wanted by them and to be liked by them and to be accepted by them. So because they understand that you want their validation, you will be less resistant to say no. You will be fearful of rejection by them. And then also don't forget, well, not don't forget, but I haven't even announced it, but I do have a membership tier here on YouTube now. I just posted my second video today. Essentially it is my breakup recovery tier. So pretty much like how to recover after a breakup or a divorce. So I did a video today talking about overcoming rejection. So yeah, you guys can check that out if that is the season of life that you are currently in, healing after heartbreak, essentially.
Teenager, I guess even a kid, because it just depends on the person. What was dating like in the very beginning? Like when you first started, you got your first crush. What was that like?
When I got my first crush, I would say I didn't really know my worth when I was younger. I would say I would go after the men that didn't want me. A lot.
Ooh, sorry. I am going to be stopping this live stream a lot because I watched all of this. She drops a lot of truth bombs on here. I love her self-awareness. I love how honest she was with her upbringing, with her past, with her self-worth. And what she said something that was very important. She always wanted men that did not want her. And the reason why is because her validation is coming by certain types of men. And this is what men do. Men will go for women that are out of their league because for them, they want to use that woman that is out of their league to validate their worth, to validate how they feel about themselves. And so when you have very low self-worth, it makes it very easy for you to fall into this situation where you are dealing with someone that keeps rejecting you. In rejection, that's what the video I made on the membership tier was about today, talking about how to overcome rejection. Rejection isn't just someone ghosting you. Rejection isn't just someone not wanting to talk to you. Rejection is also when someone is cheating on you or disrespecting you or not doing right by you, not honoring you, not worshiping you. Those are all forms of rejection. And so you will have a sunk cost fallacy trying to constantly feed into dealing with this person when they keep rejecting you because you want proof. You want proof through this person that you are worthy. You have that you are a great person, that you are worthy of love. And so what happens is that you end up being in really, really crappy predicaments such as this one
all the time. Because I guess I felt that for my dad sometimes, like he couldn't emotionally be there for me. So it kind of drew me to people that couldn't be there for me emotionally as well. So I would just go after this guy. I went after a guy that bullied me in middle school. Yeah, I did. Which was crazy. And I still liked him. I was like, he bullies me, but it means he likes me. So yeah.
I also feel like that's what little girls were taught, which I always thought was strange. Like if he's mean to you, he likes you. Like that's like very toxic.
Yeah, very.
And I think a lot of women that even reflects in their adulthood dating is they think it's okay when a man does not treat you right. It's because he cares. But like we don't say that directly, but it's like ingrained in our brains. And boys are taught not to express their emotions.
So sorry, but someone just asked in the chat, just joining, have a question. If a man prefers to do the back door a lot, does that make him suspect down low? You have to watch this entire thing because this is also I'm telling you, these DL signs, she is going to mark off every single thing that I've told you all about these men being DL. If you stay here and you watch the whole entire thing, everything that I say is going to fit the bill on what happened to her and how this happened.
Emotions, really. So it's like, oh, like if you're picking on the girl because you like her, but there's a way to show that you like a girl by not being mean. Like I just don't understand that.
Yeah. Maybe flowers.
Exactly. Maybe flowers. Like that's not like put gum in my hair.
Yes.
So your first serious relationship, what was that like?
My first serious relationship.
How old were you as well?
I was still in college. I was fresh into college.
Okay.
So about, what is that? Yeah, I was about 18, 19. Okay. And it was with a guy I met at Club Opera.
Where is that?
Club Opera is where they changed the name. It's on Crescent Avenue.
Okay.
They changed the name now. But yeah, we met there. He was a photographer. And at first I didn't like him because I was like, this guy actually likes me. And like, I like people that don't like me. But it got so close. Like we moved in together. Okay. Me, my sister and her boyfriend and me and him actually all moved in together.
Okay.
To one apartment.
An apartment. 2-bedroom?
Yeah, 2-bedroom apartment. And And it was going good for a while until he got more emotionally abusive to where he was very jealous of men liking me and stuff. I was a pageant queen for Phi Beta Sigma. I was Miss Phi Beta Sigma. So in college. So a lot of those fraternity brothers were around me a lot of the time. I went to the parties and he didn't like that. And it got very emotionally abusive verbally. And it didn't get physically abusive. He did shove me down to the ground one time in the bathroom. So I guess that's the furthest it went. But it was very toxic. And I did kick him out at one point, and he actually stormed back into the house, jumped the fence, and started banging on the door that night. And I remember I had moved in one of my coworkers at the time because my sister had left because her boyfriend went to jail. Oh, it was a whole heap of a mess. So my coworker lived there with us, and she was like, "You guys have to figure something out because I'm not dealing with this anymore." I remember she said that to me, and the next morning I was like, "We can't do this anymore. It's too toxic. We got to separate." So we separated, and I've seen him today, and he's still doing good. And his dad was my Uber driver one day, which was crazy.
Oh, that is so crazy.
But he's doing well, and I wish him the best. So yeah.
How long was that relationship?
I don't even know, to be honest. Maybe a little under a year.
Okay.
It wasn't even that long.
And all that went down under a year.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
And with him being a photographer, I know you said he had jealousy issues. Did you feel any? Because what type of pictures was he taking?
It was more artistic style, and he was also like a rapper. Like he had artistic style rapping, almost like Kendrick Lamar style. Like it was more poetic. Yeah. So it never really bothered me, the stuff that he did. And I think he was so into me, he didn't want to upset me.
Yeah.
He would only upset me if he was jealous, and
Interesting. And when you broke it off with him, like, did he try to come back a lot, or?
No.
Oh, okay.
It kind of just, it was like a clean end on both parts. We kind of both agreed like it was too toxic. So it was just like clean separation, which is nice.
That's actually, because you said with the jealousy, I thought it would be like a bit more like an explosive breakup. But honestly, those are the best. I mean, it makes you, as a woman, sometimes you question like, well, why did he leave so easily?
Yeah.
But those are like the healthiest, because like you don't need that manipulation, and it can get really dangerous.
Hold on. I'm going to scrub through this just a little bit.
Main thing that catapulted me into it, it was mostly my parents didn't have any money as well. And I remember one.
Okay, this is where I wanted it to be. So essentially, she is talking about how she got into the strip club and what prompted her to want to go work in the strip club. And so essentially she's saying how the only reason why she went into the strip club was because her family had no money. And so she chose to go into the strip club to help financially help her family.
One day, they didn't have money to fix their car. And I came back home with a stack of $400 and I just gave it to my mom and was like, "Here you go."
From the club. What was your mother's reaction to that?
She didn't say anything.
She didn't question where the money came from?
She didn't question it at that time. But I mean, my mom was smart because I was in and out of the club. So when I was at Chipotle, I would like go in. It was Dreams nightclub at the time. Okay. It's demolished now. But I would go in there. I did one audition and I was scared as heck. And I was like, I can't do this. So I went back to Chipotle. And then it was like an in and out. And that's also where I met the guy as well. We'll get into that. Yeah. But in and out. And then eventually when I just started stacking up little money here and there, I was like, I can just fully do this.
Oh, wow.
And then I left Chipotle and then I just fully went into Dreams. That was the first club I started stripping at, was at Dreams.
So when you were like in and out, was it like you go just on weekends and then it turned into doing it weekends and weekdays? What's your definition of in and out? Like how, because I'm mainly asking this because it's easy. I want to hear a little bit how you can get sucked into the lifestyle, because I hear that a lot from women, that it's so easy to get sucked in. So I'm trying to see like what was the amount of times that you were going that made you feel like, this is what I want to do?
So in and out, it wasn't even like planned on like weekends. It just was whenever I felt like I was disconnected from whatever was going on in my life. When I was watching stripper vlogs, they were telling me what stores to go to. I remember I got my first stripper outfit. So when I got my first stripper outfit is when I first auditioned. So I think that was during the week. It was like early during the weekday shift because that's the best time to audition. So I remember I spoke to the house mom there and she was like, "Oh, you'd be great. You're just a little shy. It's going to be fine." And then I remember I was so shy on stage. There was a guy working there. He was like, I don't know, the head security, not really, I don't know, head hostess of the club, whatever. I don't even know what he was. But he was there and he was watching me on stage and he was like, "Why are you so nervous?" He was like, "Just loosen up." And then I remember I went home that night and I was like, why can't I loosen up? Like, I mean, maybe this is because I'm not supposed to be doing this. Like I would battle it in my head so much. So I took a few days off, then I watched more stripper vlogs. I go in for another day. So it was kind of like every couple of days, I would say.
So it really does break my heart because this is the reason why everything that I have that kind of like talks more about this stuff, I have it behind a paywall. I don't feel as though like stripper talk or dark manipulation or like those types of things, or like maybe like Shira Seven's channel, I really don't believe that is something that should be given to the mass public on a general large platform. And the reason being is because no one is ever really going to tell you like the downsides that come along with it. Even when you're on like stripper talk or looking at stripper vlogs like she was doing, they're always going to like count their money. and show you how much money they made. They're always going to show you about like the very, very good things, you know, that had happened. So that's why like on my Patreon, I will like share stories about like, you know, unfavorable things that have like, you know, happened. Although granted, I didn't really go through much. And the reason why I didn't go through anything really during my time in the club was because I was very level-headed. I wasn't coming from a place of lack, and I had a goal in mind because I was in school pursuing a degree while I was working in the club. I wasn't just like making this money and like just taking care of other people or like not having a plan B so that way I wouldn't feel like I would forever have to be in the club. Nothing wrong with anyone that does that, but this is why I always say I don't really care what I don't care what a person's intentions are. I don't care if you want to have a sugar daddy. I don't care if you want to get married. I don't care if you never want to deal with men again. I care about that whatever decision you are making, you are informed and you have the most clear level head that you possibly can with as much information and facts as you can before you partake in any decision that it is that you choose to make. And so I feel like the reason why she couldn't like loosen up in the club was because she didn't belong there. That wasn't a place that she would be. I never had to drink my way through the club. I never had to drug my way through the club. Because I didn't feel uncomfortable there. It wasn't an environment that my spirit was fighting. I didn't have a hard time really assimilating to the club that I was at. And so I do feel as though her intuition in her body was already telling her that you shouldn't be doing this. Because the thing about it is that even with Shira 7, that most women cannot live that life. Most women will not be able to do that and do it effectively and do all of the things that come along with the energy. And that's not most women. If I had to guess, I would probably say only like 15 to 20, and that's me being generous. I would probably only say about 20% of women can effectively live that life and not be drained and actually feel comfortable doing something like that. And usually that's just for a season. For the women who are like born into it and like they are straight up on that and like that's their life path, that's probably like 5% of women. It's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to place yourself in. And I always see this because on Facebook, I'm a part of the Shira 7. The page is super ghetto because they don't have anyone that is like a moderator or that audits the channel at all, or not channel, but page on Facebook. They don't have anyone that moderates the page. So they let any old person post on there. But when I see these girls and when I see what questions they're asking, when I see the men that they're entertaining, when I see the time that they're wasting, I'm just like, these women, they don't need to be watching this content. They're not ready. They're not where they need to be to effectively do this. And men are watching this content too. Men are watching Shira 7. This is available. Women are not just watching this. Men are watching this. And so men understand, all they want is money. All they care about is money. These men will give you money and give you other things that you don't want. You know, they will give you money and then also financially abuse you. And so that's like a large reason why I'm talking to this, because like no one is ever talking about like what also can come along with these choices that you're making.
Over the course of a couple of weeks. And then in that time frame is when I met that guy at Dreams. And he said that he was a real estate agent, this, that, and the third. And I was still in and out, but we exchanged numbers. Okay. And since he said he was a personal trainer and all this stuff, he also knew that I was going through it at my parents' house. So it was just like I was in a vulnerable state.
So when you met this guy, how exactly did you guys meet? I know it was in the club, but how did he get your attention? What was it?
Toxic masculinity, I think. The way he looked on the outside, to be quite honest with you. He dressed very flashy. I felt like it was a man that could provide for me because of the way that he dressed, the way that he carried himself. Him saying he had multiple businesses, owned multiple homes, and this and the third. It was kind of like sold to me like a dream. I was like, wow, there's a guy that actually cares, and he doesn't want me in the club like that, but he'll actually take me to the club when I want to work. And you know,
this is what I mean. This is what I mean when I say that there are men that like they study this. They study this enough to kind of know, oh, okay, like this is what I need to do to be able to get this woman. This is what I need to do to be able to sway a woman and have this be in my favor. And I also do want to add, because someone just mentioned it in the chat. One thing that I do love about Shira's channel is that I do love the fact that she is raising awareness for women to understand their power, understand that they do have a lot of value. And that essentially, like, we're the prize, you know what I mean? Everyone on earth came out of a woman. Every single person here living came out of a woman. And most of us, our main caretaker was a woman. So none of us would be here without a woman to begin with. And so, I do want to also mention that, but yeah, that man already knew that if I look like a provider, if I am very flashy, if I look like I have money, if I sell my resume, my business resume, my money resume, it will be a lot easier for me to have more prey, essentially.
You know what I mean? And what can go wrong?
Yeah. So I know we kind of spoke on, we're talking about him as one example, but with the culture of being in the club, what is that culture like? I know you even said the man said to you, loosen up, the security guard or whichever, which typically I would think if I saw someone was so uncomfortable on stage, I'm like, I don't think this is for you. I think that you should, just because could change your life forever. Just, this is like a different lane you go down. What is it like with, I guess, the males inside the club? Why are women so drawn to the men? I know you kind of briefly mentioned it with the money.
Yeah.
But what else is it about that life? Because you guys are making your own money.
Right.
So what makes a lot of strippers, bottle girls, bartenders want those men as well?
I think it's just, we think that we can, I really think it's when women think that we can get something out of a man. Eventually we start to think of men as cash cows or bank machines or people that can provide for us, not like as human beings. And a lot of the men in the club are jerks. So we see it. They're not nice. And the guy that I met that gave me HIV, he was very nice to me and kind. And I was at the time. So I was like, oh, this is the nicest man that I met up in the club that actually can provide for me, that actually comes to see me and cares about me and stuff like that. But the other.
And this is the reason why I'm never, if you want to deal with men and you want to deal with them for money, that's wonderful. I feel as though regardless, you should be with a person that can provide you whatever it is that you are looking for, whether that be money or emotional security, whatever it is that you are looking for. However, you cannot make these decisions from lack, because every single decision that she is making is coming out of lack. The reason why she went into the strip club in the first place was because of a lack of money. The reason why she ended up dealing with this man was because of lack of acknowledgement or lack of having good experiences with men, lack of having any self-validation, lack of any sense of self-love. So every single decision that she is making is out of lack. And this is why I have the video on here talking about how women that have a low self-esteem should not be dating. You should not be entertaining a man if you have a low self-esteem, because at the end of the day, if your measuring stick for dealing with a man is just simply off of him being nice or not, men are unpaid actors, most of them. Men are they're Oscar nominee actors. They can put on whatever mask they want to put on to present to you as whoever they want to be, that understands that they know what they need to do to get you comfortable, to get you vulnerable, to get you to like them. So niceness is not enough. This is the reason why you should never trust men that say, well, I'm a nice guy. I'm a nice guy. This is also the reason why men are never going to hold other men accountable for their bad behavior. Because the thing about it is that when men are dangerous, and when the worst thing that a man could do is take your life, a man being nice to you, it feels like he's giving you the world. Your measuring stick shouldn't be based off of if a man takes your life or not. That's horrible. That's the reason why they want this stuff to keep happening. They don't want us to live in a safe environment, because it makes it easier for them to prey on you with fake niceness, with providing.
Other men in the club, it's like a lot of the girls in the club, we see the men as
just like bags, money. Yeah,
that's it. It doesn't matter how they treat us or anything, because I'm getting the money.
Yeah. Interesting. So I know you already mentioned that this man that you met, he gave you HIV.
Yeah.
Can you speak a little bit about how you guys got into a intimate relationship where that could have happened. So I know you only spoke on you guys just being in the club, but clearly, well, at least I would hope there wasn't any physical things happening in the club. How did you guys get to know each other to that level?
So I'm the type of person, when I get into a relationship, like you noticed at the beginning, me and my ex, we moved in very fast. Things move very fast in my relationships. That's why I'm taking a break. But with this guy that gave me HIV, things were moving very fast where I was like, he's providing for me. He was a trick. That's what you can say. He was a trick. The tricks are the men that come in and take care of certain girls in the club or make sure they're good, whatever. He never got dances from me in the club when he was there, but I'd ask him to come in if it was a slow day, like, hey, can you come give me some extra money? Hey, this, that. And eventually it got to the point where we're hanging out outside the club so much. Like he would pick me up from my parents' house. And that's why when a lot of people ask to see his face or ask to see it, ask his name, I'm like, what are you going to do with this information? Because he knew where my parents lived, type of stuff. But he was picking me up. We were hanging out all the time. He would rent out hotel rooms and stuff. I never once saw this man's house.
So a lot of red flags there. She said that they were moving very, very, very fast. Whenever a man is trying to move fast with you, something is wrong. The reason why he wants to move fast is because he's hiding something. There is something that he does not want you to know. And so in order for you to not find out that predicament, whatever it is that he's hiding, he will love bomb you. He will give you a lot of affection. He will give you a lot of attention. And he's doing that because he wants to get you hooked and he wants you to like him so much and he wants you to admire him so much that you don't question things. You don't pay attention to things. You don't ask yourself any questions. You don't see anything like you don't see any red flags because he's doing every single thing perfect. When it's too good to be true, it's because it's too good to be true. And also, she broke the number one rule of what all dancers know. All dancers know you're never supposed to meet someone outside of the club. Never. You never, ever, ever, ever meet someone outside of the club. And the reason why you don't the reason why they have that rule is because this can happen. I worked with girls who met men outside the club and the men unalived them. You are never supposed to meet a man outside of the club. 9 times out of 10, a man that wants to meet you outside of the club has no good intention for you. Because there really is nothing, just being real, there's really nothing outside of the club that you cannot do that there's really nothing outside of the club that you can't do inside of the club. Just keeping it real.
This is a lesson to the ladies. If you ain't never seen this man's house, please stop it. Expedition, stop it. So never saw this man's house, but he would get out all these hotel rooms and everything, take care of me.
And how long was this going on before? How long were you guys dealing with each other?
Maybe 3 months.
Oh, okay. So it's okay.
Maybe 2-3 months or so.
If you're comfortable answering, how soon was it when you guys got intimate with each other?
It had to be maybe a month into us talking.
Okay.
Maybe about a month. Yeah, it was about a month into us talking. And then I just said, whatever, let's do it. Because I just felt so close because he's providing for me, because he's this.
What were some things he was providing?
Just money.
Just giving you money? Like, what type of money are we talking?
At least $300 minimum anytime he came to see me. If I asked him, I'd say, it's slow in the club. Can you please come bring me some money just so I have a great day? At least $300. He would take me to other strip clubs just to hang out, and I just thought it was so cool.
Was this the first time you dealt with a man that would give you that kind of money?
Yes.
Okay.
Ever.
So you never met any other man in the club that would do the same thing? No.
My ex, I met him in a regular dance club. Club Hopper was like a dance club. It was chill. So meeting someone in a strip club,
it's a
whole different ball game.
Yeah.
Whole different.
So did you guys always use protection?
Never.
Never. Not even the first time.
Never.
Oh, this is heartbreaking. But Lola Divinity Sugar Lady, thank you, girl. She just touched on something really important in the comments. She said, I have a guy friend acquaintance who gives HIV to women on purpose. His girlfriend right now has it and doesn't know. I'm glad he told me because I had a crush on him and might have slept with him. He doesn't take meds, so his viral load is high and he is contagious. Yeah. There are people out here, there are men out here who are literally giving this to women on purpose. And they say that for women, usually if you do get that illness, you get that disease, the number one way that women are getting it is actually through their partner that they're monogamous with. Because HIV is actually very, very hard to get. It's very, very hard to get because there's a lot of different things that factor into being able to get it. It's based off of like the form of penetration, and then also based off of the viral load of the person. So if the person is HIV positive and they have an undetectable viral load, then they will not be able to pass it off to anyone. But if they have a high viral load, it is going to be a lot easier for them to give it to you. And then if you are having anal penetration, it's going to be very, very, very easy to get it. And then also they factor in like how many times like you have sex with a person. That will also allow them to be able to get it. So the thing about it is that when it comes to that one specifically, usually women that are getting this are actually in a monogamous relationship. They actually are partnered with a person. Because you're not really going to get that type of disease just sleeping with someone the first time in most cases. Usually it's with one person that has it and you have a repeated exposure. So that's the reason why this guy was trying to like keep her around, keep her outside of the club, do all the things that it is that he wanted her or that she needed him to do, because he could tell that she was operating out of whack. She needed money. She liked the fact that he was nice to her. You know what I mean?
For use protection.
Mm-mm.
And did he know that he...
After I was diagnosed, I feel like he definitely knew, to be quite honest with you. Because there was a bunch of red flags I've already said, but there were so many things that I noticed, and a girl commented on my video and said the guy that gave her HIV actually had the same thing, but he had an alarm on his phone that went off every day. And I noticed this, and I was like, what is that alarm for? And he was like, oh, it's to take my supplements, because he was huge. Like, this man, he looked like Flo Rida. That's what.
And that's like another thing too. With the whole protection thing, it's at this day and age, honestly, whether you're like partnered, whether you're in a monogamous relationship, if you're not getting tested regularly, or if you're like casually dating, you really do need to be using protection. Like, you really, really do. If you have a man who you ask him, hey, is it okay if like you can use protection, you put on a condom, and you're being met with resistance, you are being met with him trying to be argumentative and coerce you into not having this happen, all bets are off. Do not feel as though you need to allow yourself to be in this type of situation. You need to find a safe way to remove yourself from that situation if possible. I always like to make it be known that, like, hey, if I'm sleeping with you, we must use a condom. It has to happen. And honestly, I will even use the excuse. The thing about it is that men are more afraid of pregnancy than they are of STDs, for whatever reason, but they're more afraid of getting you pregnant than they are catching something. And so usually, instead of me saying, oh yeah, like I want to use a condom for protective purposes, I literally just say, hey, I'm really, really fertile. And I just lie. I just lie and say that I'm really, really fertile. And I lie and say that I'm ovulating. And pretty much I'm like, I can't take any birth control because like I got a blood clot or something. And then usually they're like, oh my God, really? And then that really will prompt them and freak them out and be like, okay, like, no, like I don't want to have a baby. Like I don't want to get pregnant, whatever. But you need to make it known that like right away and look for their reaction. Just do it before you're even in the bedroom with them. Do it before you are in their space or they are in your space, because you don't know how these men are going to react. Also, once a stripper refuses to go out with a customer, that is usually when he stops spending on her. Yep, exactly. All the money he can give you, he needs to give it to you in the club.
All my friends say he looked like Flo Rida. He was big, muscular, bold, like all that. So I was like, what do you? And he just said supplements. So I just believed him. He's a personal trainer. He takes supplements at this time of the day. And then after I was diagnosed, I told one of the girls in the club because I had stopped dealing with him. But he still it was almost like he was taunting me. Like he would just come into dreams sometimes and just stand at the back bar.
After you found out?
After I found out.
I don't know if you know, was he taunting you because he didn't want you to tell other people? Or just to be intimidating?
I think just to be intimidating, because I told people, and then he found out, he knew that I told people, because he had texted me after, and he's like, I know you told the people in the club. And when I told the people in the club, it was the house mom, and it was one other girl that was very like gothic, like we were both alternative, had a bunch of tattoos, and I thought I could confide in her. Never confide in strippers or anybody in the strip club.
She went and told a bunch of people?
She went instantly. I told her maybe about 5 minutes later, I get called to the back by the house mom, and she's like, she told me that so-and-so gave you HIV. Is this true? Because I need to protect my girls if you talking to other girls out here in the club.
Gosh.
And I looked at that house mom and I was like, yeah, like I confided in everybody in the club at that time. And I remember that house mom knew him
Personally.
and she was like, I know him. He would never do so-and-so, like blah, blah, blah. He doesn't have that. And I was like, okay. And so after I saw how they kind of reacted, it kind of just made me back away. And it blew up into this whole thing to where I just stopped working in Dreams. And then that's when I found my other home club and started dancing in other clubs in Atlanta.
So you continued dancing after. And how do you think that was because you were trying to heal something within you?
Oh yeah, I hated men. After I was diagnosed, I was like, this man gave me HIV. I'm gonna use every man that I can use to get their money, whatever I can get out of them. Like I did not care about my life, my safety. Because this one I had HIV, I was like, what else can happen to me? Like, you know, that's how I was thinking, and which is so messed up to think, think back on. But you know, that's how I was feeling. So yeah, that's what I was doing. I was trying to heal something within me that of course wasn't.
So after discovering the news, what was that feeling like in that moment? If you can take us there to like feel how you felt, which I know we won't be able to fully, but.
So when I was diagnosed, it was so we had the intimate reaction in April.
Okay.
It was in April. And I had an acute case. A lot of people with HIV do have an acute case. I didn't know this until.
And can you kind of explain what acute case means for her?
An acute case of HIV is pretty much when your symptoms show up within the 2 to 3 months of transmission. A lot of people have no symptoms. You hear about that and it transfers to AIDS.
Yeah.
But I had symptoms like almost immediately. So within the 2 months, it was about June, April, May, June. That was exactly 2 months.
Wow.
In June, I started to have a fever. Like my entire bed was drenched in sweat. I'm talking, I was sweating out my arm pores, my mattress pad, everything. And so the first night it happened, I was like, that's weird. I mean, I sweat in my sleep, but that's weird.
Yeah.
The second night it happened, I was sweating through the sheets. And then I remember my mom made me dinner. And usually we eat in our rooms, it's nothing new. But we had a staircase. It was pretty steep. And I was walking up the stairs and I couldn't make it up the stairs.
Because you were so fatigued.
I was so fatigued out of nowhere. Like it just seemed like all these symptoms just came out one after another. And I remember I literally sat in the middle of the staircase with my plate and I just set my plate down. And I called my mom and sister. And I was like, Mom, I can't move. And so my mom came and was like, what is going on? I'm taking you to the ER. She took me to one ER. They tested me for everything, flu, strep, whatever. They didn't even test for STDs there. My mom was like, they just pushed you to the side. All they gave me was like ibuprofen to lower my fever. She was like, I'm taking you to another hospital. I go to another hospital. They do all.
If you are a woman of color and you go to the hospital, it is so important that you are well informed on what symptoms are overlapping with certain things. Whenever you have a fever, you need to always think of infection, okay? And it could be an infection whenever you are having a fever, whenever you are having fatigue, whenever you are having swollen lymph nodes, it is an infection, okay? You don't leave that place and you be incessant and say, no, we're doing a full panel. We are doing a whole, because that's another thing with doctors too. Even if you go to the OB-GYN, there are some OB-GYNs that will ask you if you're okay, like not getting tested for HIV. Like they literally will ask you, well, do you want the test for HIV or not? And it's like, of course I want it. I want the test. Like, of course I want to be tested for every single thing it is that I could possibly be tested for. So, it's very, very important that you really are an advocate for yourself and be very thorough and kind of understand, no, like I want to get tested for any and everything. So that's even unfortunate. I feel like that's a flaw that she clearly exposed throughout the healthcare industry. I work in healthcare, so
all the tests and everything like that. And at the hospital, they didn't do the HIV test, but they did do STD testing. And they said, I suggest you see an infectious disease doctor. And that's when I made an appointment with an infectious disease doctor. And they kept telling me, watch your fever, of course. Like, I can't control that. But then I made that appointment. And when I made that appointment, my entire family was with me because I kind of just already knew. But also my sister, in the midst of me going back and forth in the hospital, my sister, who's a nurse, she calls me out of nowhere. And she goes, when was the last time you were tested for HIV? Just out of nowhere.
And you said you kind of knew too.
I had like a feeling that there was just something off. And when she said that, my heart sank. Like it was like my stomach was like, it was just, I was like, I think that's what it is. And when she said that, it just confirmed what the doctor.
And also, because someone mentioned it in the chat, thanks Lola, with because she did say that he was like very big and she was very buff. That's because of a couple reasons. Yes, they do get prescribed steroids, but you also have to think of the community that these men tend to be a part of, right? A lot of these men are DL, a lot of these men are LGBTQ, all of that. And so essentially, these men are buff to attract other men, right? So a lot of these men will be big and buff in the gym because they want to attract other men. So there's I had bodybuilding, right? So I know this for a fact. A lot of these men that are in bodybuilding, if they're not DL, they're doing gay for pay. They're doing some type of cam situation where their customers are men. Those men want to see muscular men. I do believe at some point that she is going to bring it up, but there was really one thing that she brought up that it kind of goes along with that other story that we just did a couple of days ago, which the girl, she was like the 7th baby mama. They have similarities that these men being DL, I feel like 99% of the time it's like always accurate.
Doctors were suggesting I do, and then when she called me, it was in between of that, and I was like, jeez. So that's when I went to the infectious disease doctor. My whole family was there. My dad stayed in the waiting room. My mom and sister were in the room with me. And the doctor came back after the blood results, and he said, you have a false positive. He said, I don't want you to freak out right now.
Okay.
But you have a false positive, which means like there are some antibodies, but we're not sure if it's like a fully positive. We have to wait another month. Mind you, my birthday's in July. So I was really like,
oh my gosh,
my birthday is coming. I just need to know. So yeah, I had to wait until beginning of July to go back.
What was that month like? Was it like a thought every day?
It was a blur. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I really don't remember.
I can imagine. Well,
I remember I wasn't even dancing because I was too weak. I was just at home at my mom's house.
So the reason why that happened is because she said they started sleeping with each other in April. And she said that she started getting sick in June. So like I said, HIV is not easy to acquire. And so in most cases, she probably ended up actually getting the infection probably at the end of May. And then probably 2 weeks later in June, that is the reason why she ended up getting those symptoms. It takes about 6 weeks for you to get like a clear positive test with HIV after you've been exposed. So that's the reason why she was like in between that time when they weren't sure if she had like full on antibodies, because you have to wait about 6 to 8 weeks after exposure for you to actually get a full and clear result.
Remember in my room, my head was spiraling, but it couldn't spiral too much because also I always tell people I was reckless with one person all the time. Like I was a very promiscuous person, but always with one person. And I always thought back to what type of sex we were having too. Okay. Relations. And it was always anally.
Really? Why was that?
So someone had asked at the very beginning of this if a man is always like, that's his preference, like his preference is wanting to do it anally. You should be cautious. That's the number one way that's the best and easiest way for HIV to be transmitted is anally. And men definitely don't care about doing that because they can finish in you, right? And they know that they can finish in you and not get you pregnant. And all of that sperm has all of that. It's going to have all of that illness in it. It's going to have all of that disease in it. So she's having anal unprotected with a man that she's only known for a month, and she met him in the club, and he was giving her money, and he was nice to her. So yeah, like he got that in probably the same fashion of how he gave it to her. So if there was any blueprint for a person to say, hey, I want this illness. How do I take the steps to get this illness? She took every single step. She took every single step in order to acquire this.
Just preference or?
His preference.
Wow.
And that's why a lot of people say it's probably DL, and I know he probably was.
Yeah, because that's why I was like, why was that his preference? So, especially given the timeline that you said it was like 2-3 months. I think people might jump down that who, as they've already been intimate enough, like, let's try something new. Not the first thing as a, heterosexual relationship, but yeah, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So I was just thinking back on all the ways that we, that was mostly the main way anyway. So, I mean, it kind of just, I don't know, it made sense, but it didn't at the same time. It was like, why is this happening to me? But also at the same time, I was being promiscuous with this guy unprotected. So who can I be mad at right now?
Yeah.
Myself or him? Or of course I was mad at him, but the sickest thought that came through my head was, don't tell him yet. Keep using this man. I didn't tell him yet. He didn't find out until I told people at the club.
Were you still sleeping with him? Okay.
I was still talking to him, asking him for money though.
Did he find it weird that you guys weren't being intimate anymore? No. Were you guys intimate like every time y'all saw each other before you found out? It was just like once in a while y'all would?
Yeah, it was just once in a while. So it wasn't anything like weird. And anytime he came to pick me up, he always had this guy in the car with him. I put myself in the most dangerous situations. But can you imagine 2 men driving you around in a rented Dodge Charger, just driving you to the strip club every day? And
that man that was in the car, that was probably his DL partner in most cases. So whenever there's a man and they have a best friend and they're always hanging around the best friend, he's either at the best friend's house, the best friend is at his house, et cetera, et cetera. It's a little fishy. My spidey senses would be going off with that. Yeah, the man that was in the car with him was most likely his DL partner. That's probably who he got it from. She does have it, but I believe she's currently undetectable. So that means that if she does have sex with someone, she won't be able to pass it.
I just thought it was cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Rented the Dodge Charger.
Yeah.
Was that like confirmed?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's what he drove.
Okay.
He was from Florida and he rented cars.
That was interesting. Okay. So I know we got to before he started being intimidating in the club.
Yeah.
You didn't tell him because you said you were gonna I'm gonna use him for what it's worth. He did this to me. Well, first let me ask you this. How did you know it was him?
I knew it was him because I wasn't having sex with anybody else.
Okay.
Like how I said, I was very promiscuous, only with one person.
Okay.
And that's another thing on my YouTube channel. And I have to hide a lot of comments where people are like, well, you was a stripper anyway at the time.
Assuming.
Probably you were dancing and sleeping with everybody. I'm like, when I was a stripper, and I told my mom this, when you were a stripper, you decide if you want to become, can I say the word?
Go ahead.
Prostitute. You either decide you want to be a prostitute or you want to be a dancer.
Yeah.
And after dancing, I became certified to teach pole. So like when I was in the club, I put on a show on the stage. Like I love moving my body and sensually and all that stuff. But I never once was the type to be in the VIP room or to do anything like that. I was never that type.
Yeah.
So when people ask me, are you sure it was him? I'm like, y'all, when it just, yeah.
Speaking of VIP rooms, I know people have thoughts of what happens back there. Is that like pretty common that women are?
Yeah, they do it on the floor too.
Really?
I'll see.
Like do what?
I'll see whole P words out.
Oh.
Penises.
Oh.
Just hand jobs at the bar.
Oh, wow.
A lot of new girls. I remember I saw one new girl come into the club. This was later in my career. And I could tell she was very green, as they say. And I was like, oh, please, no. And just within like the first customer she had, they were literally bumping and grinding on the couch out in the open.
Oh, wow.
But in the VIP room, I used to go in the VIP room, but I made sure the people that I went to the VIP room with, a lot of my customers knew my status too. I was a talker. I get paid a lot of time to talk. And as well as the people that went in the VIP room with me, one guy, he was a comedian and he came in with his friend that was also married. They were both married. And we just talked and laughed and he almost gave me $1,000. A lot of the time I would raise the price so much because I knew what would go on back there. And a lot of the time it's easy to, it's kind of hard and easy to say if you're not like as a stripper yourself, but you can kind of gauge when a man is trying to get something out of you.
I think, women in general,
you can tell, or you can tell when a guy's just like, a lot of men would talk to me, like we would talk for a minute. They would end up giving me around $500 and they'd be like, I really don't like being out on the floor. Can we just talk in VIP? And I'd be like, okay, give me another 100. And then anytime you go on VIP, you can leave anytime you want to.
Yeah.
So it's like,
have you ever done anything in VIP before?
No.
No? Okay. That's a testimony in itself. Yes, I always hear you mentioned in the beginning that you watched the stripper.
And the thing about it, I'm really, really happy that she said that she was promiscuous, but she was promiscuous with just one person. Because in most cases, when it comes to this STD specifically, this is how most women are going to get it. Most women are going to get it from the one man that they're sleeping with repeatedly. In most cases, they're not going to get it from sleeping around with multiple people. You know what I mean? I am going to do a live stream on Bourbon Bougie. I already covered it, but there is a woman on Threads and she got accepted into a DL page on Facebook. So literally men came together and created a DL page on Facebook and they accidentally allowed her to get into the page. And she pretty much like on Threads was pretty much exposing everything that they were talking about in the page and essentially how a lot of these men will purposely give these STDs to women. A lot of them like to do it out of spite. And a lot of it just comes from rejection. A lot of it comes from them not overcoming rejection by one woman or multiple women. And so for them, it's kind of like restitution to get back at them being rejected by women in their past. I remember a dancer who went out with customers and would come in bruised and beat up. Then again, that can happen to women who are in relationships too. So exactly. This is the reason why I don't like it when people make it seem as if like these type of things only happen to S workers. It's just S workers. It's a lot easier for them to be in a in a surrounding area where they're around men who would be more prone to do it, or they're coming there just to do it. But you being married isn't going to protect you from getting HIV either. You being married isn't going to protect a man from abusing you either. You know what I mean? So I feel like a lot of people like to conflate titles with protection. At the end of the day, marriage is a word, right? At the end of the day, commitment is a word. In order for the word to make sense, it has to be followed by action. You don't know a person's actions 24/7. That's why people check phones. That's why people put air tags in people's car, because they want to know what the other person is doing. My son's dad knowingly gave me an STD while I was pregnant. He got tested and knew and didn't tell me. Thank goodness it was a curable STD. I am so sorry that happened to you, but yes. Yep, there's so many good girls who fall victim to it. Yep. Yeah, no relationship is ever going to make you immune from abuse. No relationship status or marriage status is going to make you immune to anything happen. I really do meet her. I see people calling her a pygmesia. She wasn't a pygmesia, okay? She was not a pygmesia. You have to remember, this all came from her wanting money. This all came from her needing money. And this is why I say that as a woman, you cannot rely on a man to provide for you. You cannot, because bad men can still provide for you. Good men can still provide for you. And you won't know what type of man that is providing for you until something like this happens, right? Until you're in a financial abuse situation, until you have, been given an STD or something like that. You're never going to know. So it's best for you to lean on your own devices. She was working in the club. She was getting money from men. The same way that guy was giving her $300, she could have very well worked an extra couple hours, came in an extra day, and made those same $300 and could have avoided all of this. You know what I'm saying? So I have a lot of empathy for her, because these are the decisions that women end up making over lack. And this is the reason why your financial security as a woman is so important. Because if you don't have any money, your survival is at risk. And when you're trying to survive, you're going to make very, very poor decisions. And yes, I'm enjoying Florida. It's nice.
I used to watch this girl. I think her name was Christina Villeja.
Yep.
Yep. Now you would watch those. I was like probably 16, 17 when she was like really at the peak of her content. Mm-hmm. And I'm just gonna say, like, how you got influenced to go into stripping. I can see how easily for young girls to be like, oh my God, she made that much in one night, mm-hmm. without showing the horrors that can happen behind the scene. And this is my question for you, mm-hmm. is, were you ever under the influence in order to get through a night? Like whether it was drugs, alcohol? Yeah. So I feel like it's easy for women to end up.
She was under the influence every single night, she just said. That's how you know she was in an environment that she didn't need to be in. Like I said, I never needed to drink in the club. We would get paid to drink in the club if the customer bought us drinks. So I would only drink then. And even then I would always tell the bartender, like, after like 2 drinks, do not ever, stop putting liquor in my drinks after I've had 3 drinks, because I want to be focused. I want to be on. I want to be aware. I want to be aware of my surroundings, and I want to be able to really fully investigate who the person is in front of me. And I feel as though when you have to put yourself under the influence, you're in an environment that you should not be in.
Becoming addicts. Even if they just did it, I'm just trying to get through the night. Mm-hmm. Then if you're doing that every single night, you're going to just be doing that even when you're at home, in a lot of cases. So you were under the influence a lot of times.
Yeah, and especially dealing with the men in VIP rooms, mm-hmm. I had to cuss out a lot of men, threaten a lot of men. I'd be like, I will knock you out mm-hmm. right now if you touch me again like that. I would tell a lot of men like that in the VIP room. I would talk to them just like that. And they'd be like, you're mean. And I'm like, okay, well, give me my money. Let's go.
Mean is crazy.
But a lot of girls don't speak up for themselves. But I got to the point, I already had HIV. Please do not touch me like that. Mm. And I was so under the influence because a lot of men still groped me when I was still naked. Like, a lot of men would grab me and touch me inappropriately, and I'm already naked and I'm already like vulnerable, and they would still try to assault me.
Wow.
So I would have to be under the influence to try and deal with that, because I just don't want to think about the security guard's not securing me. And I was actually attacked by a security guard as well.
Really? I've like, from seeing some women speak, they say that the security protects the women really well. Really? So from your experience, that wasn't the case?
Heck no.
Wow.
All of the security guards are in with the customers a lot of the time. A lot of the time. So I remember there was this.
She worked at a really, really bad club. Like it also sounds like she's worked at like really horrible places, because I never had any experience with the security being an issue. The security had always been protective of me. The security always helped me. I was always in clubs that I was always in a club I was always in gentlemen's clubs. I never worked in those, like, I didn't work in those hood clubs. I always worked in a gentleman's club where it's like there had to be etiquette. You had to carry yourself a certain way. They would kick people out if they did not like follow the proper protocol. She was really in like a bad environment all the way around.
It's one security guard at one of the clubs I worked at. And I told him that one of the customers didn't pay me my money and he was leaving out, and he literally spit on me.
The security guard or the guy? Oh, the guy.
The customer did. I said, you owe me some more. And he said, beware, I don't owe you else. And then spit on me. He was shorter than me, and then started walking out the club. I tried to get the security guard. He outside smoking with two customers, And when I told him he's walking to his car, he just looked like, just like that. And the first security guard that actually attacked me, this was way before. So I went back to dancing so many times. I would stop and go back, stop and go back. The first guy, this was at my home club After Dreams. I won't say the name of this club because I just won't, I guess. They threatened me so many times. And I actually had a lawsuit pending with them. I dropped it myself. But I came into work one day. I was a day shift girl. And I remember I had my handbag on my shoulder, and everybody knew me. All the new, like the older security guards, they knew me. They knew Phoenix in the club. Like, she don't bring nothing in the club, so you don't even need to check her bag. Most of the time, my bag never got checked. But this certain day, it was a new security guard. I remember his real name was Kenyatta, and I'm gonna say it because I don't care. His real name was Kenyatta when I found out, but his strip club name was Supreme. I remember he looked like handsome Squidward, just big, bulky, and just awkward. And I came into work. He said, "Let me look in your bag." And I had just got out my Uber, and I was on the phone with my girlfriend. I was like, "Hold on one second, let me get off the phone." And he said, "Let me look in your bag or get the F out my club." And I remember I just saw his eyes switch, and I was like, hold on. Because I was like the sweetest girl in the club. Even the girls never bothered me because they could tell, like, I'll switch on you real quick anyway. So, like, I just never was bothered. So I was like, what is going on? So I started opening my bag slowly. And so he still started, like, jolting me, like, trying to get in my bag. And by this time, I was partially inside the club. It was like an awning leaning in. And then I was partially inside the club. So the bartender was there, 2 regular customers. It was super early. And then it was the bar back that was there as well. And the bar back started seeing what's going on. The bartender's like, whoa, what's going on? And I was like, I don't know. Like, he's trying to get in my bag. Like, what the F? So by this time, the security guard pulls me back outside the club by my bag. And by this time, I just closed my eyes. But before I did that, I turned around and I said, why are you doing this? I don't do anything to anybody in this club. I remember the exact words I said. I said, why are you doing this to me? I don't do anything to anybody in this club. And I had a tongue ring at the time. And I was ugly crying already because a grown man is dragging me outside the club for no reason. And he thought I spit on him. So when I said that and I turned back around,
did your tongue ring come out or something?
No.
So why did he think you?
Because it just came out when I was crying and screaming.
Oh, okay.
Why are you doing this? Like, it just,
gotcha.
That's what he told the people. That was his excuse on what he did next.
Okay.
So after I said what I said, turned back around and I started walking away. He grabbed me by my throat, and I remember I was up in the air.
Stop.
And I had just closed my eyes like on some like super villain type shit, but he was behind me. So I was up like this. I had handprints on my neck and everything. And by this time, the bar back, because the manager came out. He was a white guy. The nerdiest white guy came out. I'll call him Cole. He came out and he was like, yo, put Phoenix down, put Phoenix down. And he wouldn't put me down. So my eyes were closed. And the bar back came out with one of those giant Hennessy bottles. Not like this one, like the big
bottle.
Club ones. And they were about to beat him in the head with that if he didn't let me go. So he saw him come out with that. He threw me down on the concrete to the point where I had a contusion in my left arm. And then I had a strain in my spine or my neck to where I literally was moving like a robot the next day.
And so this was all unprovoked. Did you guys have issues beforehand?
Never. I met him one time previous. The house mom was like, this is the new security guard Supreme. The reason.
Yeah, this is not common. I mean, from everyone that I've known that stands, this is not common. Yeah, I always say it starts from the top. The owner of this club is probably like a shark, a snake, and probably is hiring a lot of, like, he probably has friends that are abusive, and then they have their abusive friends come into the club. Yeah, this sounds like a horrible club. Because this is not common. This is not common in the club at all.
Then the club owner gave me. He said, that's my cuz. Like, you know what I mean? He real close to me. The only reason I can give you, because my mom called. My mom was like, because my family knew I was stripping. They was like, why did he put his hands on my daughter? They said, ma'am, the only thing we can give you is his mom recently died that week.
So just terrorize everybody else.
And then when he was about to drive off, they let him drive off. Before he drove off, he was like, that beat spit on me, that beat. And that was the only thing he could say.
Can we just talk about the power complex that security guards in clubs specifically have? Like, even just to everyday people. I never got into it. Well, once I did. But it was at a bar. But it's just like, they just do the most.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I remember I was like standing on the curb, and he was like, they were trying to get people to go home. It was time to go home. And he was like, everybody off the curb, off the street, this is my block. And I was like, you want me to stand in the middle of the street? Like, we're trying to get our Uber. But my my sister's boyfriend at the time, he has to like tell me to contact to stop, because he, if something happens, he'd have to get involved. I get it. But in that moment, it's like, y'all just have this like huge, I'm minding my business. We're trying to get our Uber, and you're just doing the most. That story that you just said is absolutely insane. And the fact that I'm assuming you probably were even smaller back then.
Yeah, I was super tiny.
Yeah, because you're slim here.
Yeah.
So like, you felt the need to do all of that for what? Like, what was that for? And he was like a big guy, I'm assuming, Supreme, I'm assuming, by the name.
Huge.
I would tell you to call the club out, but no, we're not gonna get you caught. No.
Platinum.
Oh gosh.
They're closed.
Okay, I never heard that one before.
They've been closed, and it's been unexplained why they've been closed. And I said that was God. Because there have been so many things that I've seen on the news before they were closed down. There was a fire that happened in front of the club. There was some shooting that happened next door. I said that was God.
Atlanta clubs and bar scene in general, I just hear a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that is just dangerous.
Yeah, it's very.
And people aren't protected, even if they work there.
Yeah.
So that is very interesting.
But the club's not open anymore. So
yeah. Okay. So you can't get held liable for that.
And I mean.
Wait. Allegedly.
Exactly. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
But yeah. So you went to that club. That was the club you went. One of the clubs you went to after, correct?
After Dreams. Yeah.
Okay. And when did the stripping stop? What made you say like, I'm done?
True. Because I danced in so many clubs in Atlanta. I've danced at least 5 clubs in Atlanta.
Are there any that are open now that you've danced at? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they probably see this and hey, what's up? But yeah, what made me fully stop was I was way later down the line in my dancing career. This was right after the pandemic. And I remember I just watched so many girls go to VIP. And remember I told you I saw that one girl having sex on the floor. And this was the same club. And it was one day I had smoked an entire 3-5 by myself. I mean, I used to anyway, but this was like within like a couple hours. Like I went up to each customer, and each customer I went up to like, hey, do you want to dance? You want to talk? They'd be like, I'm waiting on so-and-so. I'm waiting on so-and-so. And as soon as so-and-so came out the dressing room, they went straight to VIP. And I'm like, look, I ain't matching up with any of that. So regardless.
That's the same reason why I got out. I probably would have kept going. I probably would have kept going a little bit longer. But yeah, that's exactly what got me out sooner. Because I got out before I finished college, and I just said, forget it. That's the reason why I left, because I was like, whoa, now. Everyone's selling their bodies here. This is kind of a waste. I'm just here to dance. I'm not about to compete with that.
Look, I'm not even going to, match that energy. So I remember I started Ubering at the time too, to supplement, because I wasn't making money like that, to be honest.
Because
like I said,
you weren't in VIP?
Because I didn't do extras like that. I was a dancer. I was on the stage a lot of the time. So it was like, I didn't know what to do at that point. I was like, I was making maybe $200 a shift.
Okay.
On a good day, I guess you could say. And then we had to pay $75 to work, if not more.
Yeah.
So I wasn't making nothing. So I was like, I need to Uber to supplement. And I remember I was Ubering this one morning after dancing, and I was so hungover, just so tired. And I was in the car. I might start crying. And I just yelled out to God, and I was like, God, please give me a sign that I need to leave this life. Like I was screaming because I was tired. Like my body was tired. I was beat up because the security guard attack happened 2 years before I even stopped dancing. I was still so addicted to that past life. I didn't care. I took maybe a year off. I went back to dancing. And kid you not, the first day that I prayed that, I saw a double rainbow. And then the next day, I saw another double rainbow. And I saw God, I hear you. And I just never looked back. And I remember I got my first serving job after that. It was in Buckhead, and it still didn't feel right because it was still in Buckhead, still around like the same type of people.
Yeah.
And so then I went to go work at a grocery store, and that was like about a year and a half ago or so, like that. So I fully stopped dancing around 2022-ish, I think, fully, or 2021. Around that time, into 2021, into 2022.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so proud of you. I just want to say that. Hearing your testimony, that was like,
thank you.
I don't know. As you see, in my YouTube videos, I do the Bible verses.
Yes.
Even today, like I told you when you commented on my, to like come on to this first episode of the Decision Podcast, I was like, it was almost as if it was like meant to happen. And it just felt like just seeing your comment, and I don't know what it is. I used to like be around the time you were in like 2021, 2022. I was oddly fascinated with like HIV cases and like trying to understand the stigmas. I did also know someone personally that did get infected with HIV. And it was, before you would never know people close to home that have, you don't really hear that, or at least people are more private. So for one, I commend you for even feeling proud enough to come up here and share your story. It's probably going to help a lot of young girls, which we're going to get into in just a minute. But it was like meant to be for us to have this conversation. So yeah, just hearing your testimony, God really does. He speaks. If you listen, he speaks. Okay. I'm telling you. Yeah. And I know some people might not believe in God, but let me just tell you, living testimonies, they be, yeah. And right here, right now.
Yes.
But that goes to me asking, I want to ask you like some questions in terms of like myth versus fact that aligns around people that have contracted HIV. So is a myth that if you share a drink or share a plate of food with somebody, is that fact or myth?
Definitely a myth. You cannot get HIV. You cannot get HIV from sharing a fork with somebody, kissing somebody, or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah. And is that a common one? Like when you said that you tell people you're pretty open about it.
Very.
Do people like kind of act funny towards you when it comes to like, oh, like, hey, take a bite of this or take a sip of this?
Sometimes, mostly in the club, because a lot of people in the club knew I had HIV. I remember the house mom at Platinum joked about it one day, and I laughed back in her face and said, "Ha," and went back upstairs.
What was the joke?
She said, "Phoenix, you know it's going around that you got the package." I hate it when people call it that. That's like calling a little person the M word. Don't call it package. Say HIV.
Yeah.
But yeah, I looked at her because I was lit anyway. I had just got off stage, like sweating hot, and I had a drink in my head, smoking in the other. And I looked at her and laughed and went back upstairs. So it's like a lot. It was mostly in the club. I remember one guy, he used to smoke with me all the time. And I think he started to go around more so. And he would like share a lot of the time.
That is crazy that she was working in a club that let you drink and smoke in there. Like, they checked our bag and you couldn't bring alcohol in there. You couldn't bring any uncontrolled substance in there. SD is sugar daddy. Yeah, that's crazy. Like, that is absolutely insane. They probably had someone selling it up in there. Like, they probably checked their bags and then probably had some guy come up to the club that they knew and probably was just selling it to the dancers.
And then one day he just stopped and I just noticed. I was like, but it was mostly in the club. It was never like new people I met outside the club.
Okay. Another myth or fact, the myth being that you have to be a part of the LGBTQ plus community, more particularly a Black gay male, to contract HIV.
It's higher risk, but you do not have to be LGBT. Like the guy who gave it to me, I believe he was DL. I almost strongly believe it because he was also in and out of jail a lot as well. He has like almost 6 mugshots online. So
yeah, this man has all of the signs of DL, like every single one. Like, if they're in and out of jail, they're DL. Like, there really is no way about it. Like, this is insane.
So it's like the highest risk of transmission is through anal sex because of your intestinal walls as well, the blood circulation in there, and the micro tears and the anal cavities. So that is why it's higher risk amongst the gay community.
Okay. And speaking of him again, do you know where he is right now in life? Like, what does he do? Is he still?
The last time I Googled him, he was in Douglas County Jail.
Okay. How long ago was that you Googled him?
This was about last year.
Okay.
So I'm not sure where he is right now.
Okay.
As far as taking him to court, I did not.
Okay. That was actually a question because you said you're not 100% sure that he knew or not. So what leads you a little bit to not being 100% sure? Like, was it his reaction?
His reaction was like, I told my mom this. When he found out me telling people in the club, he literally texted me that night and was like, "Oh, I heard you told people in the club that I gave you so-and-so." And I was like, "Yeah." And then he was like, "You want to meet up and go have sex?"
Wow.
And I know people are open with it, you know what I mean? But that just kind of like further confirmed, like, why would you?
Yeah.
If you think you didn't give it to me, because at first he denied it. At first he was like, "I didn't give you that mess. I can prove it." Never showed me records or nothing. But just said, I can show you. It never showed me.
No records, no paperwork.
But continue to ask me to have sex.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I will even say is that it's very important, ladies, and I'm sure you could attest to this too, and gentlemen.
Yeah, he definitely gave it to her because he probably just figured, well, I definitely have it and now you have it. So, like, we both have it. So we might as well keep sleeping with each other. Like, neither one of us have anything to lose at this point.
Please look at those charts, my chart, please get the paperwork, all of that. Because recent, like real recent. They'll show you something from 2023 and we're going to 2025.
Yeah.
Like, no, get tested. There's lots of like sources out there that you're able to go to. Planned Parenthood, no, that's not just for abortions. That is that's a myth. There we go.
Yeah.
But please, like, that's something that I find really important. I do make sure before, if I'm ever considering being with anybody, if I'm dating someone, we got to pull up information because I have like this strong, I'm just so fearful because I've been cheated on before in the past. And I'm not going into that story with what I was hearing about him. But yeah, we don't play those games.
You have to. And it might be uncomfortable, but it will save you a lot. Look, I'm telling you, ladies.
If it's uncomfortable, you shouldn't be having sex either.
Exactly. Because if you love that person, if y'all really want to get into it like that intimately, it shouldn't be uncomfortable.
At this point, it's just easier to be celibate at this point. Honestly, it's way easier to be celibate at this point because, like, these people can, at this point, they can fake these results. They can use somebody else's results and change the name on their results. People are going far and wide to deceive, to manipulate, to lie. And it is just easier just to be celibate at this point. Like, yeah.
So how's dating now?
Not the laugh. Dating now.
Okay.
Dating now is complicated.
Okay.
Because I know my worth now. And someone left this comment the other day on my YouTube talking about you know your worth now. Yeah, I do. You better bet I do.
And also comes with age. We all.
Yes.
Come on, please, guys. We gotta go through stuff too.
So since I know my worth now, a lot of men that are attracted to me think that I don't know my worth. So I attract a lot of the men that are very toxic.
Okay.
A lot of my exes as of late have been very abusive towards me. Not physically, the last boyfriend. The one previous to that was actually a security guard. That's trauma. And I could tell he could have turned into an abusive relationship because he had ARs in his room and stuff. And I just, when I first started dating again, seriously, out of dancing, I didn't know my worth yet until I started to realize these men are trying to take advantage of me because they know the first thing that a man, they know my status, of course. So they're like, oh, I'm so welcoming of you. Thank you for telling me, blah, blah, blah. I remember one guy, he was like, oh, you're my queen, like, blah, all this stuff.
Speaking just how soon do you disclose to your dating partners? Immediately you do. So like first date, you say it.
First date, if not first text message, I don't care how they take it.
Got it. Okay.
Because I just want them to know, and I need to know to protect my own heart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so a lot of them do know that up front, and they just think they can treat me any kind of way. And my most recent ex, he had a lot of mental issues and abandonment issues.
And there are men still to this day that argue with me on my What Stripping Taught Me video. There are men still arguing with me when I said on that video that men are not picky. Men are not fucking picky. They're not. A lot of these men, they don't care if a woman has STDs. They don't care if a woman has 12 kids. They don't care. If anything, they like it because it's easier supply for them, because they just assume, oh, well, because you're overweight or you have an incurable disease, you are not worth anything. You like, I can just treat you any old kind of way, because if you don't deal with me, then there's no one else that she will be able to deal with.
And he used my HIV kind of against me in a fight one time. And he was like, I actually had sex with you and you have HIV, B-word. Like, and I was like,
in an argument, he said this?
When I was trying to leave him. And I actually had to get my therapist involved. Like, my manager almost had to drive me to his house to get my stuff. Because the relationship moved so fast.
Yeah.
He met my parents and everything.
Yeah, and see, she said it again, the relationship moved fast. I can obviously tell that, like, okay, it does sound like she has grown from this situation, but I really do think that, like, she hasn't mastered men. She hasn't learned about men and their manipulation tactics and the things that they will do to make it easier for them to manipulate you. Yeah, she isn't understanding of male nature, because that's the second time that she's mentioned that the relationship moved fast. She doesn't, she needs to be alone. She needs to stop dating. She needs to get a different therapist too, because I think she mentioned a therapist. She needs to get a different therapist too.
And he just thought that him accepting my HIV was good enough. Like, he was like, oh, you're leaving me? And I was like, yeah, I'm leaving you because you're acting insane. Like, you are really acting tumultuous. Like, you're shorter than me. Like, I don't know, like, what's going on right now? Like, because I could
a little man syndrome.
Yeah. And so I was like, let me just leave this relationship. And it was almost like he didn't want me to leave, but he's still texting on different numbers to this day. Like, you cannot still be mad at me right now. Please respond. Please respond. Like, he is. But a lot of men have been very toxic. So I'm very protective over my heart now. And I leave after one red flag.
So do you think the dating pool for you is a little bit smaller, and you're encountering toxic men because of, like, more people might be uncomfortable with your status?
Not really.
No? Okay.
Because so many people are accepting, surprisingly, of me. Because they meet me in person usually, and they just see that I'm a very open and honest person. I would never try to do anything to hurt them. But it's like, I honestly think there are so many bad people out here right now in the dating scene that the pool is small for everybody.
The pool has piss in it, as people say.
But yeah, I don't think it limits me. I think if anything, it narrows it down to the ones that really need to be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I completely can see that. Because I feel like, in general, with dating, as we've already stated, a lot of people will pretend or act like they'll use it as, like, a secret for, like, oh, I think that's even with people that are trans, and they speak on how, oh, you would be surprised who I date. I feel like they will have you felt this way, that people look at you as, like, a dirty secret. Do you feel that way?
Oh yeah, I've had an ex that treated me like that, and I left him so fast.
Wow.
He was an older guy. That's why I don't like older guys either. Because, like, they act like they accept you for everything. Oh, I've been through so much. And then it's like, they don't want to take you out in public places or do this or kiss you in public and stuff. So I remember my last ex, there was a security guard. We kissed in public, and one of his friends saw us and commented on my HIV. Because they all knew me in Atlanta. I mean, everyone, I'm pretty sure knows me in Atlanta. But they're not close. And he didn't defend me. And he was like, the thing that stuck out to me the most, he said, I don't want people to think I have HIV too. And that's when I was like, wow, so you can't even stick up for me. It feels like
it's the cognitive dissonance for me. Like, it's the cognitive dissonance for me. So you're with someone and like, you know, their status and you're in proximity to a person, but like, you want to be close enough to them, but not so close that you would that someone would associate you with this person. Jesus. And now making her feel like, oh, or trying to make it seem as though he's doing her a favor by giving her little crumbs, essentially.
a secret now because you should have just said something like.
And the best friend or friend said that in front of your face, you said?
He didn't say it in front of my face.
Okay.
But he said it after my boyfriend told me. I was like, why would you even tell me?
Yeah, that's weird. That's a little odd. Like, were you trying to bring me down? What was your purpose?
Yeah, I didn't understand.
I don't like that.
So yeah.
So are you, if you're comfortable with sharing, are you now undetectable?
Yes.
Okay.
I have been undetectable since I was diagnosed way back before I started dancing, or I was still.
Oh, okay. Yeah, in between you.
So yeah, I was undetectable maybe about 3 or 4 months after I started taking my medicine.
Okay. And can you explain what undetectable means for someone that might not know?
Yeah. Undetectable, it means that your viral load. Look, I'm trying to get the viral load is under 20 copies. Okay. Quote me. look into Google too. But, yes, viral load is undetectable under 20. Your CD4 count is also above 700, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, my immune system is very good in comparison to normal people. I get checked up every 3 months with my doctor. I stay on top of that, and I take Biktarvy. If y'all have seen Biktarvy,
I've seen the commercials on Hulu.
That is what I take once a day. I know they have other stuff coming out, injection stuff. I don't trust.
Yeah. Don't they have what's it called? PrEP.
Yes.
So like that's before, you know, if you're just having unprotected sex and if you had unprotected sex, and just to make sure you have to take it, like, how do you know, like, is it 2 to 3 days before or something?
I'm not sure. I feel like with PrEP, you might have to be on it for a little bit.
Okay.
I'm not sure though.
Okay.
I had one boyfriend offer to get on PrEP. He said he might or might not. It's up to him.
Okay.
And I said, that's up to you because it can have some side effects. So that's up to you. But a lot of my exes have not really cared.
Okay. So, and you guys have unprotected sex?
I have with, okay. My exes.
And what is your reality now when it comes to sharing your sexual history in terms of, like, you know, are you 100% clean? Do you do that? Or have you done that in the past few years since you?
I have. I did have one slip up.
Okay.
So where I wasn't asking.
Okay.
And then I was like, why am I not asking this person? And I was too trustworthy. And so yeah, that was scary for me. And then I was like, girl, you already have HIV. Why are you not protecting yourself more?
Yeah, because there's other ones that exist, other STIs and STDs. Yeah.
And I actually had someone in my family get an STD after I was diagnosed, and I almost about threw them down to the ground. Like, girl, you already know. Like, why would you? Because they were crying in their room, and I said, yours is curable. What are you crying for? Look at me. So yeah, a lot of the time, it's been a journey.
Yeah, I can imagine. And then what do you see yourself being a mother in the future? Do you want children? I know you're 29, you're still young and hot.
I know. Honestly, you guys, I really don't want to bring a child up in this crazy world.
Oh, that makes sense too.
I'm so protective over myself now and my own safety, and know what I've gone through and put myself through that.
She really has learned a lot of lessons due to not validating herself, due to her having a very low self-worth. This is like really, really sad, honestly, to even like witness and to have to watch, because this is just really why it's important for you to know your worth and for you to really validate yourself, because a lot of the time, the only way that you're going to be in situations such as this is that it's because you don't have any self-worth. And it really does seem as though like she hasn't learned from this. It does seem like she's still searching and, you know, things like that, like for men and for male validation. And it's a travesty to see. Like it's a travesty to see. I really hope this young lady does get the help that she like really, really needs. It sounds like she needs a new therapist though, because she should be on a much larger trajectory, a much bigger trajectory than what she is on, with all of the lessons that life have taught her.
I don't want my child to feel influenced by society, Instagram, anything like that, anything that they see, because these women out here are not looking out for the younger generation that are putting out a lot of these videos and content.
Yeah. So can we actually, I'm forgetting the guy's name. We were just talking about this earlier, but there was a story where an OnlyFans model is being,
it's like
Gucci third leg, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So he is being accused of spreading HSV too. Yes. And he is an OnlyFans model, like I stated. So a lot of people, apparently he's been preying particularly on younger models, like the 18, 19-year-old girlies that are coming about. So with that, you just mentioned content. We see how people are, we talked about the stripper vlogs, how a lot of women are really promoting sex work and promoting that. What are your thoughts on, well, first let's talk about the Gucci third leg guy. What are your thoughts on that? I know you said we kind of briefly talked about it, and you talked about it yesterday with your cousin. What are your thoughts on that?
To be quite honest with you, and that's why I put my story out here like that so openly, because I want to save girls from going through that heartache that girl was going through. Yeah. I really want people to realize that it can happen to anybody close to you. there are so many baby mamas out here.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I don't think people realize there's more than a baby that you can get from having unprotected sex.
Exactly.
And people are just thinking of babies from this NBA player, and OnlyFans this, OnlyFans that, but they're not realizing the actual,
the consequences that can come from that.
The serious consequences. And it's very sad, kind of, that I feel like a lot of girls still aren't protecting themselves, but it's also like, I had to learn my lesson the hard way. And I don't want to come off like this, but sometimes we have to learn these hard lessons. And you can either choose to thrive in the lesson or you can let it get the best of you.
Yeah.
But she's going to have to get through the hard part. And I know she could come out on top, but you got to get through the hard part and then come out better.
Exactly. And how long would you say that your hard part lasted? Because you did talk about how you just did it caring more. You were like, I'm just going to use men for what they're worth. I hate men.
The whole time I was stripping.
Okay.
Because like I just didn't care about my safety, my life. I went to a pimp's house one time. I didn't know he was a pimp, but I did.
Just to go.
I was just in a headspace where it took me a while. So I would say, and I told you I was in and out the club too. My mindset was just hustle mode, use men. So it was like maybe about 3 years until I finally went back to therapy. I've been seeing the same therapist since the 8th grade.
Oh, okay.
And I had stopped seeing her the entire time I was dancing. I knew she probably knew something was up, but I just didn't talk to her.
Yeah.
But she is just the most open woman, and she actually sees strippers too. And I told her where I was dancing at the new clubs, and she was like,
and I'm not too sure who that Gucci third leg man is. I would have to look deeper into that because I have no idea who that individual is. But it's crazy that she's had the same therapist since 8th grade and she's 29 years old and she's still down this path. Like, it is time for her to get a new therapist. Okay. That's a long time to have one therapist, and life is still going. Like, she was still making these decisions.
I understand what you're doing, Nika, but I just don't like it for you. I don't like the area. And that kind of started to put a little idea in my head, like, girl, you need to get up out here.
Yeah. And with that, how were you supported in this process? And I know we kind of talked about your dad being in the waiting room when you were about to find out, but we didn't say your dad's reaction. So what was your dad's reaction, your parents' reaction in general, and how have they supported you through that process when you were going through things? I know you had a therapist on your side. Like, were your family and friends supportive of you?
All my friends were supportive, for sure. My sisters, all of them.
Great. Yeah.
My mom, she was very supportive. She took it way, I won't say better, but she was more strong-headed in it. My mom also doesn't show her emotions, but my dad cried. And that was the only time where I cried. That was the only time I cried when I was diagnosed. When I was diagnosed, I never cried.
What was your immediate reaction? Was it just like shock?
Shock and accountability.
Okay.
Because I knew I was being promiscuous with this guy.
Yeah.
And I just didn't care about my body at the time. So it was shock, but accountability.
So do you think that, and you've already said you've had some YouTube comments of people saying, well, you were a stripper. Do you think that there was a link of being in the nightclub and contracting HIV? Or do you think that this would have happened to you regardless?
I think it would have happened to me regardless. If not HIV, then something else. Because yes, I met him at the club when I was in and out of dreams.
I'm so glad that she admitted that, because that's 100% correct. This would have happened to her regardless. It would have happened to her regardless. Where her mind was and where her mind still is, her brain and her thought process was not going to lead her into any smart decision making, any discernment, any wisdom, any knowledge. She didn't have any of that. She didn't have any self-worth. She didn't have any self-respect. She didn't have not a single tool that would have been required for any of this to be avoided outside of the strip club or inside of it.
But it was like, if I was also talking to other men, like just outside of like, the street and stuff, just, hey, he gave me attention, I'm gonna give him my number. Hey, he gave me attention, because I was looking for validation in any man. You see what I mean? So until I healed that wound within myself, that I don't need to seek validation from anybody. I think it would have just happened eventually.
Wow. And when you were talking to these men, I'm assuming like the men that you would like randomly meet, was it like you were like they gave you the attention? You're like, okay, like let's be intimate then, or
those men? A lot of the time, I wasn't intimate with those men because they weren't giving me money. Sorry to say that, but the first guy to actually give me a lot of money, it was the money. I guess it did something to me. I was like, wow, this is the first man that has given me so much cold hard cash in my hand. Like, am I in love? Like, that's what I was thinking. It was super cloud-headed. Like, but the other men giving me attention, I just had a bunch of men
like just have people in my number, giving people my number on my phone. Okay, I get that.
Get attention.
Yeah, I can see that too. And do you think that stems from your childhood?
Oh yes.
From your dad being away.
Okay. Yes.
Was he in the military or something?
No, he worked in Africa. He was an international financial advisor.
Ooh,
so he just traveled. He was in Sudan. He was in South Africa 2 years. So he just was all around.
Okay. And I guess this will be like mostly my final question, because I'm actually curious when it comes to, there's a whole belief that Atlanta is the city of HIV. That's what everyone thinks, and like the city of men that are DL. What are your thoughts towards that? Do you think that this is, you have a lot of most of the experience in the nightclub life with, those men that are more promiscuous. So do you think that that stereotype is true about or stigma, should I say, is true about Atlanta?
It's funny. I actually came out with a whole video about STDs rates in the states, in Atlanta specifically. I believe the highest state with the highest number of HIV cases was, I think it was New York, but it's on my video. Go back and watch my video, y'all.
Yes, shout your channel out, don't worry.
Yes, but I think it was in New York. But the southern states like Louisiana and stuff like that, they have like the highest type of just in general, like syphilis and everything.
Yeah.
But Atlanta's not the highest, actually, surprisingly.
And I think it hasn't been the highest for like a couple of years now.
Yeah, it's not the highest, but it feels like the highest because of the stigma surrounding the gay community in Atlanta.
Clock it.
And there are a lot of DL men, I'm not gonna lie. I know there are.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, I met.
Scary.
So yeah, it's very scary. And that's why I say you just have to protect yourself.
Protect yourself. Protect your womb too, ladies.
Yes.
Please.
Yes.
There's a lot going on with that.
Yes, and that's why my name is the sacral healer, because the sacral energy, everything in me was messed up from, just getting HIV. I also have PCOS, endometriosis. So everything within my womb was messed up.
Due to HIV?
No.
Oh, okay. So
I actually was diagnosed with PCOS before HIV.
Okay.
But I feel like it made it difficult.
Yeah.
I feel like I started to have more issues as I got older.
Oh yeah, because it's your viral system that's.
Yeah, it's very crazy that her name is the sacral healer. Because like for her spiritual diagnosis of her sacral chakra having all these issues, PCOS, HIV, like her spiritual diagnosis of like pretty much around like sex and things like that. I really would like to know more on her life. I would really, really like to know a lot more on her life in specifics to get a clear picture when it comes to her spiritual diagnosis, because wow, that's a lot.
Shuts down, right?
Yeah, it was shutting down. So I think that kind of made it worse a little bit until I, was undetectable. But I mean, yeah, you have to protect your womb.
Yeah,
the sacral.
Totally agree. So what are you doing today?
Today I am, it's so crazy. You speak on your Bible verses on your YouTube, which I love. I'm actually religious and spiritual, which a lot of people, I guess, they don't really agree with sometimes. But I'm very religious and spiritual. So I've been doing tarot readings, sacral energy healing, as well as teaching pole classes. I was actually certified to teach pole classes back in 2023. So that is a business I'm trying to build up and start up with again. I actually have my own pole. I teach private classes. I used to teach in a studio here in Gwinnett, but now I just do my own private classes.
We did my god sister's bachelorette back in August. We did our very first pole dancing class, and I'm gonna just say it's not easy. So kudos to the teacher. She was amazing. So and she had her own. That was her own studio that she opened up. So I'm hoping, I'm going to sprinkle that onto you, that positivity that'll be you having your own studio soon too.
Thank you.
Yes. And you were talking about the YouTube channel. What's your YouTube channel name?
So my YouTube channel name is The Sacral Healer. Just one word, The Sacral Healer. That's my Instagram name, YouTube name, everywhere, all platforms. It's The Sacral Healer. So yeah, you guys can find me there. Subscribe, and my actual entire HIV story is on there. Playlists are on there. Health updates are on there. I go more in depth with my story. So yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's really it. Do you have anything else that you want to promote besides just your social media?
No, I think that's it, guys. Just follow my YouTube channel.
You got it.
All right. So that was it. Yeah, Tori did a really good job with interviewing her, honestly. And I really do appreciate that young lady being vulnerable enough to come forward with her story and also use her life as an example of what not to do. And her having enough vulnerability and taking enough accountability to, pretty much say what it is that she went through and what mistakes that she made. But once again, I feel as though it's very, very, very important for whatever decision it is that you're making. Okay. If you are going to be dealing with men, I say all the time, in the back of your head, you really do need to believe that they have nothing but bad intentions for you. Honestly. You're just safer that way. You are, if you believe that they're out with a bad intention, your first things are going to be to want to protect yourself. Oh, do you think she's ever made it up to her other chakras? No. Oh, dang, we have a man in here. Stop dealing with the demographics. YN specifically. Sexually, they're all over the place. Man, I'm telling you, to any woman that's dealing with a YN, you're one of the Lord's bravest soldiers. Okay. You're one of the Lord's bravest soldiers, because I don't know how any woman would even feel comfortable being in the presence of those type of men. I don't know how women are in the presence of being around men that are criminals. Men who are gang bangers, men who are hood, those hood dudes. I don't know how women do it. Yeah, those like I literally had a guy, like I had a YN like send me a friend request, and like he literally has like a switch like in his profile picture. And I'm like, what would exactly? They're scary. What would ever make you think that someone like me would add you on social media? Like you look terrifying. And I can't believe that women will have no awareness of their safety and have no problem sleeping with these men, dealing with these men. I don't get it. Honestly, I don't freaking get it. Those men are scary. They are. They're very, very scary. I stay far away from those men. Like, even if I'm walking on the same side of the street, I'll go on the other side of the street. I don't want to be anywhere near them. I don't want to cross paths with them. I don't want them to notice me. I don't want them to look at me. I don't want anything to do with it. I will admit I liked the bad boy stuff in the beginning, but now that I'm getting older, I want a man. And the YNs want a nurse. It's like, get away, get away. Terrifying and unappealing, but a lot of Black women in certain demographics love that they see it as the epitome of masculinity. And those are the main ones that are DL. Those are the main ones that are going to hit you upside your head. Those are the main ones that are going to give you something. Those are the main ones that are going to just treat you terrible. Just to treat. Listen, I will drive. I mean, granted, I live in like a pretty good area. However, like, if I lived in an area where it was a lot of YNs, I would drive 40 minutes to go to a Whole Foods around a completely demographic just to avoid them. Just to avoid them. Like, I don't even if I'm craving like hood food, if I was ever craving hood food, I just say forget it. I don't even go to them places. I don't even go to them places because I don't want to see those people. I'm sorry. I don't want to see them. Never dealt with hood boogers, but from my experiences, the educated lames are just as diabolical. The educated lames just always have a high sense of entitlement because they feel as though because they're educated and they dress nice and they talk well, they should be owed something because they're not a hood booger. They're not a YN. YN stands for young ninja. Just replace ninja with that term. But yeah, I feel like YNs, a lot of those men are DL. Yes, DL, getting booty pumped, but won't let you peg them on your birthday. Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, those educated men are very, very entitled. Yeah, they might as well just stop dating. Yep, they can be very, very abusive. That's the reason why it's just like, though I just look at it like this, just quit dating. Just throw in the towel, quit dating, accept your fate and keep it moving. Focus on something else in your life and just quit dating. Because it's not even worth it. It's not even worth it to keep going through all of this stuff and like constantly having to watch your back and constantly having to figure out, oh, are they doing something? Are they not? Just these men, when they feel entitled like that, just stop dating. Like, if you're tired of getting rejected, like, just stop dating. That way you'll never have to get rejected again. This is also a reason why I don't even get mad at men anymore when they say that like they're not going to chase women, because I'm like, that's wonderful. That's one less man I have to deal with. A man that doesn't want to chase, a man that doesn't want to approach women. Thank you. Just thank you. Thank you for doing me a favor, because that's one less person I have to have talk to me. One less person that's going to annoy me. I don't mind dating a hot woman like myself. We bait men, get their money on the side, and have our children together. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And I feel like more and more women are going to do that. Like, I honestly feel as though more and more women are just going to like either go get IVF, find a sperm donor, or find some relatively genetically, high level man to have a baby with, and then they're just gonna raise their baby with other women and call it one. That's what I think. I think we're gonna see more of that because women are already doing it. Women are already doing it. But y'all, I really enjoyed this live stream. Do not forget to go on ahead and subscribe to the channel. I also have my one-on-one consultations. I am doing a deal on them, like a bundle, a consultation bundle for you to do like 3 consultations. You can email me if you're interested in booking that. I also have the Patreon where I teach manipulation tactics, learn the game to play so that you don't get played. I also have my breakup recovery tier on this channel, my membership channel. So if you would like to do that, you just go to my main channel or my main page and go to membership. Also, I will be posting on the spiritual channel today I think I have the live stream scheduled for 4 or 4:30, but I will be on the spiritual channel today. So yeah, my lovely sovereign sisters, I hope you all have a wonderful time. I will see you next time. If not, I will see you on the spiritual channel later today. And that is all. I will see you all next time. Bye.